Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome back to the Last Begotten channel, where we are resuming live with a press conference at Houston TransStar, where they've basically been operating all the emergency management. And we are ordering more evacuations, or they're ordering more evacuations. And the flooding has not abated at all. The river cresting can't even be calculated yet because the water's still rising so much. We're going to join them live in progress right now. I'm just going to shut up and put this on.
There's a potential for uncontrolled releases at the Addicks spillway. The spillway flows at Addicks, which would just begin
Well, you know, I had already unmuted it. I saw the thing go unmuted, and now it's just muted again, so I don't know what the hell to tell you. I'm sorry about that. Fixing it now. I hope.
24 hours has not been as bad as it, well, the last 12 hours has not been as bad as it was Saturday night and Sunday. That is when we had just incredible amounts of rain. Unfortunately, this rainfall falling on top of what has already fallen on Saturday and Sunday continues to produce situations across our area. And even if we were dealing with one of these situations, this would be a big day. The fact that we are dealing with multiple potential levee overtoppings, we're dealing with the Addicks and Barker situation, and then widespread major direct flooding on several of our watersheds is unprecedented in the city, and really it's unprecedented in this region of what we're going through. So as far as the rainfall goes, it has been one of the biggest rainfall events we've ever experienced, and our infrastructure is certainly being tested to its limits.
Mandatory evacuations. What's your message to people who decide to stay? Because there's always going to be some people down.
Yeah, so for the question was, what is the message for the folks in the mandatory evacuation areas? This will be in the Inverness Forest, Northgate Levee, and then Northwood Pine subdivisions. You need to be prepared for the levee to be overtopped. Obviously, there's a lot of water against these levees. There's a lot of pressure against these levees. And when you put this much water and pressure against levees, things can sometimes go wrong. At this point, nothing is indicating that there is any integrity issues to the levees. But experience tells us from other places that when you put this much water against them, things can happen. And the water is going to be against these levees for an extended period of time. And so I would certainly encourage those of you in those mandatory evacuation areas to take this seriously. If the levee is overtopped or potentially breached, the water is going to rise very rapidly and it is going to get very deep. And so I would encourage you to follow these evacuation orders that your particular subdivisions have instated and heed those warnings. Anything else? All right, we will plan to do another update on the Addicks and Barker situation and anything else sometime tomorrow morning. Probably be early in the morning, and we'll go from there.
One question, any word anything going on with the releases around Lake Livingston?
I am not aware of anything going on with the releases at Lake Livingston. They are releasing water, but Lake Livingston water does not come to Harris County. That goes into the Trinity River, which affects Liberty County and areas to our east. There are releases going on Lake Conroe, which did go into the West Fork of the San Jacinto River. We are expecting major to record flooding on the West Fork of the San Jacinto River. We will rival the October 1994 flood. But I want to be clear that the majority of the water that is moving down the West Fork of the San Jacinto River is from Spring and Cypress Creeks and Lake Creek, and it is only a very small fraction of Lake Conroe release getting to the West Fork at Humboldt. So the flooding on the West Fork of the river and potentially the flooding around Lake Houston, the majority of the water is not coming from Lake Conroe. And had Lake Conroe not been in place and been able to hold back some of this water, the flooding would be much, much worse on the West Fork of the San Jacinto River. All right, guys, we will see you again tomorrow morning. Thank you.
You're welcome. What?
Okay, we've been listening to the Harris County Flood Control District discussing immediate evacuations that we have in place now because of the situation with the Addicks and Barker Reservoir at Cypress Creek, Spring Creek. We're going to get into those details a little bit later, but first, let's go downtown. There is trouble at the Wortham Center, one of our fine performing arts venues. Marcelino Benito is there. Marcelino?
Well, Len, we are at the Wortham Center right now, and I'm basically standing in Buffalo Bio. You can see how high the water's gone. This usually stairwells, another stairwell right there. People would usually be able to walk down there. I can't go any further without being swept up in Bayou water. Now, as I mentioned, we're at the Wortham Center, and you can see that the water was a lot higher earlier in the day. And I'm talking a lot higher. Where I'm standing right now, a few hours ago, maybe 24 hours ago, yesterday, I wouldn't have been able to stand here either. You can see all this debris and sediment. I can tell you we were here maybe an
Okay, so
let me translate for people who have not lived in the Houston area. That right there is the entrance to the IMAX theater. The IMAX theater is kind of built into the ground. And at the moment, it's an aquarium with seats. Like, oh my, like, I remember, like, when those first IMAX features came out back in, like, the late 80s and early 90s. That's where I went to see them when I was little. I could ride the bus. Oh, man. So that's basically destroyed. And that means the whole, like, bottom floor of the Natural Science Museum is destroyed. Huh. So much for the monkey to Neanderthal exhibit. Sorry, too soon? Yes, definitely too soon. They're just wax figures. They're not real people. They're imaginary, fictional characters. I'm pretty sure there is a large collection of zoological and paleontological artifacts and just treasures. Everything from dinosaur bones to original butterfly collections of species identification history, like, was kept in that Natural Science Museum. Pretty much world renowned, actually. If you haven't heard of it or aren't familiar with it, it's something that people travel from all over. There's field trips from all over America. School kids from all over America go and visit the Natural Science Museum in Houston, Texas. And
they take the kids from out here, but I think they do it a little too young, personally, for them to even really appreciate it. Not just taking them out of state, but
it's kind of got like this expanding horizons and getting people interested in science quality to it, and that's the reason why they take them so young.
Mm-hmm.
But they should take them back again later, you know. But the kids in Houston get to go a couple times, and like I said, I used to take the Beach Nut bus right up there, and I had a like a yearly pass, kind of. I could just go, hang out, learn stuff. So let's resume back here and see what they're saying.
weather, that stuff.
I Brazoria County, where a flash flood warning is in effect for Brazoria County, Galveston County, Chambers County, Southeast Harris County, and Fort Bend County, impacting more than 3.5 million people, if you want to count them up. Heavy rain now southeast Houston, and that is pushing into the downtown area. So we're going to see some of the street flooding that, at times kind of goes down when the rain lets up, but you get a passing heavy downpour, and so the street flooding on the surface streets will increase here on the east side as that moves in. The northwest side of Harris County is getting a little bit of a break, but it's still raining up there, and it's still heavy rain here in Brazoria County and into Fort Bend County. It's moderate rain, but we just need the rain to stop, and this is what's making all the rain. It is the remnant circulation of Tropical Storm Harvey. Harvey actually has strengthened a little bit, going to 40 to 45 mile an hour tropical storm because it's back over open water here and it's picking up strength. Let's look at what the rain's going to do. So this is what the forecast rain is for midnight tonight, and it looks like it will be along I-10 and south of I-10 that gets the heaviest rain tonight into tomorrow morning, with perhaps Galveston County, Chambers County, Southeast Harris County getting heavy rain. I'm concerned about the Dickinson Bayou down there because they're going to get more heavy rain. But look, this particular computer run suggests that by tomorrow, late afternoon or evening, perhaps some of the heaviest rain will already be pushing out, and then it slowly continues to push out here going into Tuesday night, Wednesday morning. By Wednesday afternoon, we are done and out of here. So that is the light at the end of the tunnel, but we've got more heavy rain in spots going on right now, and of course the flood emergency continues. Here's the actual track from the Hurricane Center, with the storm finally getting east of us going into Tuesday afternoon, then Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, it races off up into the Midwest, and we will be done with this, but not quite yet. And because of the storm strengthening a little bit over the water and the ground being so soupy saturated, that trees that maybe are not quite healthy or don't have wide root systems, some of them could knock over in winds that could gust tonight and into tomorrow morning to 30, maybe even 40, maybe close to 50 mile an hour gusts as the center of the storm passes right near Galveston. So it wouldn't be surprising to see more power outages as more trees, some of them come down in the soggy, soupy, saturated ground. By Tuesday evening, the storm moving east of us, and that is the key, getting this thing to the east of Houston so we get off the dirty side, so get out of here. All right, so that's the way it looks as far as the storm and the rainfall. Potential rainfall, through Wednesday, maybe another 4 or 5 inches, but really by this time, the storm will be lifting out of here, and this is a tropical storm watch and warning in effect. Here's the extended forecast. So tomorrow is another rainy day, tonight into tomorrow morning and tomorrow afternoon, but by tomorrow night into Wednesday, we may be able to see at least a little break in spots, and then rain chances taper off significantly, and this coming weekend, we're going to get a chance to at least begin to dry out and begin to dig out as well. Guys, that's the latest from the weather department. Back over to y'all.
So great to see sun in the 7-day forecast and light at the end of the tunnel. David Paul, thank you. So it looks like Tuesday afternoon we'll start to see the beginning of the end of this mess that we have been involved in ever since we started getting pounding rain. Saturday night, I guess it was about 8 o'clock, we had an NFL game on, and suddenly we just went into full-time programming because it became obvious that this rain was going to continue, and then we got record amounts unseen, unheard of.
Yes, indeed, and it's such a relief to hear from David Paul that this is now projected to be 1 day shorter.
Yes.
That's 1 day less of anxiety, dangerous situations, and just the stress and enormity of it all. Even for those folks who aren't faced with water in their homes, some of these people are feeling helpless. They want to do something for people, and they're sitting and they're watching these images and they want to know, what can I do?
Yeah.
The city and the county have established a fund, and the one thing you can do is donate, because we know it is going to take millions, if not billions of dollars to rebuild and restore the city. So they're accepting tax-deductible donations. It's ghcf.org/hurricane relief. If you want to help, this is the way you can help, is to donate to that fund.
All right, Melissa Correa she's at a hospital being evacuated. Where are you, Melissa? What's the hospital?
Hey guys, we're starting with live pictures of ambulances in queue here along Highway 249 between Louetta and Cypresswood. Right now they're going one by one. Each of them have their lights flashing, and slowly but surely we'll see them make their way around and head towards town along 249 south towards the Beltway. Brett Buffington is manning the camera for me. Brett, let's push out and slowly take folks over to what the area should be of St. Luke's Hospital, which had to evacuate earlier today. First of all, this is the intersection near the hospital here along 249, guys. It is completely underwater at this point, so we're thankful and hopeful that all of those patients at the hospital got out. It's unclear what the ambulances are doing or why they're here. They just happen to be near the hospital at this point. Now, a few minutes ago, as Brett continues to move the camera over on Weather Tracker, we saw what appeared to be a flatboat. There they are. We've got some boats in the water here. They're launching. They're trying to get to other places of the area that are needing rescues. A lot of boats were out here in the hospital earlier this evening. And Brett, as we move up and maybe go towards the tree line of the hospital, let's give folks another view. Again, this is at least the second hospital in our area that's had to evacuate. Yesterday, one of the big headlines was that Ben Taub, a Trauma 1 hospital there in the Med Center, had to evacuate its patients. Now we're out here in northwest Harris County, here along 249 between Louetta and Cypresswood, and it's a very disastrous situation out here. Just take a look at that. And this is what a lot of the neighborhoods, a lot of the side streets in this area look like. Again, we're going to slowly give you this pan of a picture of what we're seeing out here as we make our way back towards 249 north. We're starting to see those ambulances, the queue at least, trickle down. Harris County deputies are blocking off 2 lanes of traffic, and this is where we were able to access. We were on 45 north near Cypresswood earlier today, but we had to get out of that area because the water was slowly overcoming 45 north. And here under the overpass at 249, Len and Mia, man, just a rush of water, and it is non-stop at this point. Thankful that David Paul is talking about fewer rainy days this week. But like you all have been mentioning, so many people just feel helpless. So many people in this area are stuck inside their homes. They can't get out. In fact, a Red Cross volunteer who was trying to get to the GRB from here on Highway 249 stopped and asked us for directions. At this point, I told him to stay home. It's nightfall. It's not good to be out on the roads, and for him to try again tomorrow. Meanwhile, all these first responders have their lights flashing. A long night ahead, definitely for them. But just wanted to bring you this picture. I believe this is probably one of the few times we've been able to get this far north here along 249 near Cypresswood, and this is what it looks like, guys.
Melissa, I want to clarify. So St. Luke's Hospital on the northwest side where you are has already been evacuated, but you're not sure what all of the emergency units are doing right now?
We're not sure. When we took a look at the hospital through Storm Tracker earlier this evening, Brett's going to try to safely maybe reposition to see that. It looked as though the hospital was gone. There were a few vehicles. We're trying to pull up a little bit more. There were a few vehicles still in the parking lot, but it didn't look like the hospital was operational. I know we put out a push alert several hours ago talking about how they were working to get patients out of the area. There's the hospital there. But we have this huge line of ambulances, and all we can reference, Len and Mia, is that the ambulances are queued and lined up near the hospital, but we don't know where those patients have gone. We don't know how long they've been out, but we're slowly giving you a picture, a tight shot, so to speak, of St. Luke's here. And we're also hearing from folks in the area that there are some hotels also in the area of Cypresswood and 249, and some folks were rescued out of those hotels as well. But you can see why St. Luke's would take that immediate action. I mean, surrounded by this hospital, guys, nothing but water, no way in, no way out, and we were seeing boats kind of make their paces around there earlier. There's the traffic light, easily swinging just a few feet above the water there. And there we are here. So we don't yet know the connection of the ambulances, but I can tell you, Len and Mia, as you all have been seeing all the images coming out of Houston, we haven't seen long lines of ambulances staged at one point, and so I wanted to bring that to folks. That is what is happening here along 249 between Cypress Wood and Luetta, and we're hoping that whatever use those ambulances have, that everyone is okay and safe and doing as best as they possibly can.
Melissa Correa, thank you. On the northwest side, St. Luke's Hospital evacuated, and also some hotels in the area also evacuated. Part of the ongoing drama that we are dealing with all across the Houston area.
Yeah, I have a brother who lives out there in this area, headed north toward Tomball. Passed through here quite a bit too. I've
Sad
never,
to see.
ever
Sad to
seen
see.
it. All right, from the far northwest, we now want to take you out to the far eastern side of Harris County and check in with our Josh Chapin. He is live at Channel View High School near Sheldon Road. Josh?
Channel View High School here originally was supposed to be just sort of a temporary shelter where they were going to then ship people off to other shelters. You can see what it's become now, a sort of full-on shelter. I'm going to bring in Channel View ISD Superintendent. What has this become here, simply?
Well, it's a shelter, and as you said, we started off first. We got the call last night, and they said there were 100 people that needed a place to go. So we got our team together, and we opened up the shelter. Our nutrition department, our transportation department, maintenance department, and we assembled a team, and it was just going to be a place where they could come. We would feed them, and then of course they would have an opportunity to go wherever they need to go. Well, it's morphed into a little bit more than that. By the generosity of the people in the community, our community especially. If you look down here, you see all the donations. All this is donations. We have a whole other room full of donations. Water, clothing. The people around here have been great. We still are. We do not have beds. And I'm assuming there will be some people that want to stay here. But in a few minutes, there's buses out front. Our transportation department is there to take some of the people to George R. Brown.
I see some people sleeping, and I don't want to show them necessarily, but there's some people sleeping in the gymnasium here. I mean, this is crazy.
It is crazy, but you have to realize, and I think you've been out there, they're tired, and they're wet, and they're cold, and a lot of people, they just wanted a place where they could be, get warm. And yes, they're in there sleeping, and they'll be able to stay here if they want. We're going to be here 24 hours. We've got constables here. The great thing about this is people come together. Of course, we had the food, but we put it out on social media, and people just came. Brought all of this. We have over 200 volunteers, and a lot of those people are our students, our parents. I've had my school board members up here. Every one of them have been up here working. So it's been a big community event. I'm proud of our community, how they've stepped up for everybody.
Now, have you heard some of them, I'm assuming some of the dramatic stories of people and how they actually got to Channel View High School?
Well, yes, I've seen some of them, and I've seen them come in dump trucks in the rain. They've been out there for hours. We've seen them come in flatbed trailers. Of course, I've seen what's on TV about people coming from on their roofs. I mean, but we're here for them, and we've accepted every one of them, and we're blessed because, yes, we have a little bit of flooding in Channel View, but we're able to help.
This is a place to educate. This is a place to train young minds. It's doing a little bit of something different tonight. How do you do that and make light of all this?
How do you do that? And I'm going to turn it around this way. It's about educating kids, and like I said, we have 180, or at least 180 volunteers, and most of those are our students. And so that tells you our students volunteered. We didn't call them; they came in droves. So that speaks volumes for the type of kids we are, and that's what, to me, that's real life situations.
This is dire. Talk about how dire this is, at least from what you're seeing. I mean, I know people come together, but there's so many people when this morphs into what it is.
it is dire. We started out with 100, and we just couldn't turn anybody away. Now there's 400 people, over 400 people here, and we only prepared for about 100. It is dire. I can't begin to believe what they've gone through. But we're here for them, and we're going to still be here for them if they want to stay.
How hard is it for you not to be in class right now? I mean, every school district in the greater Houston area, of course, is not in class for the week, if not more. Is that difficult?
It's a difficult decision to always cancel classes, but in the wake of what's going on, I don't want to sound bad, but that doesn't really matter right now. This is what matters. School can take second to that. This is more important, and there are people out there that are in need, and I think that's more important than classes right now.
Thank you so much, Superintendent. I appreciate the time and good work that you're doing. Again, there are 400 people. I don't know about all of them are going to be sleeping here. There are some buses, some school buses we just saw pull up. They're going to be taking people, who knows, to the George R. Brown, to other shelters in the area. When we were at a different sort of way station, it was over on the south side, we were told there that some people, if they couldn't be taken to the George R. Brown, would be taken all the way to San Antonio. So it's clear as more people are being rescued, there's more need for shelters that might just not be here in the Houston community. But again, the folks here at Channelview ISD doing what they can to help. The superintendent tells me it's not just folks from Channelview, it's from Cloverleaf, Galena Park, a lot of people, not just from the east side, really all over Sheldon as well. So school can't be educating, as he said. The best thing they can be doing is helping the community like they're supposed to. Lenemy, I'll send it back to you.
Him, and then I have just Josh Chapin reporting for us there, Channelview High School, that has become yet.
Yeah.
It's understandable
They
because
didn't intend for.
Appears as though we are having technical differences.
Say that again?
Technical differences.
Great.
Say something else.
Something else.
Babakaki.
This is a crisis alert. Hurricane Harvey has slammed
Babakaki is a crisis
coastline,
alert?
causing widespread destruction. A state of disaster has been declared. Homes are destroyed. Families have lost everything. Children suffer the most. Help is urgently needed. Save the Children is on the ground delivering food, water, critical supplies, and child-friendly spaces to waiting children and their families. To learn how you can help, please go online today.
Alright, so
If you're just joining us, welcome to the Lost Begotten channel. I am your host, Fake TV's The Lost Begotten, and we will be resuming our evening broadcast shortly. I kind of rushed it on there, trying to get the freaking press conference, because they were talking about the possibility of a levee breach, and
So they really didn't learn.
I suddenly started having flashbacks, you know.
I was gonna say, so they really didn't learn from Katrina.
Right.
I cannot believe what their government officials did to them in Houston. Like, I'm still sickened by the thought. You knew this was coming. you could have easily planned, divided up the city in quadrants, and evacuated them. Everybody who lives between this place and this place get out between this time
Starting
and
with the
this time.
people right by them fucking bayous and reservoirs,
Exactly.
man.
Me and my coworker were talking about that this morning at work.
Really, they didn't have a plan?
Right.
All they had to do was call me. I'll be back to them in an hour. I'll have your damn plan. Okay? Any government agency that is in need of anything that they can't seem to plan, just let me know. Just call me. Give me 5 minutes. 10 tops. For fuck's sake. Children. That's what you are. Silly little children. Why Houston wasn't ready for a big hurricane.
Because their mayor's a dumbass, that's why.
You know, they haven't had fucking decades to prepare since Gilbert or Alicia or anything.
Texas was not. In a fresh piece, the Texas Tribune and ProPublica partnered to publish a big report last year that pointed out why Texas was not ready for another big hurricane. One of those reporters, Nina Satija, joins me now by phone. And Nina, that piece was about the particularities of Houston that made it particularly susceptible to flooding in the case of a big storm. What is it about Houston that makes it so challenging?
There are two things I would say about Houston that make this such a challenging issue. I mean, number one, as the mayor said earlier, this is a huge, sprawling metropolis. And, of course, we've seen incredibly widespread flooding. We've seen flooding across all of Harris County, which is home to Houston, across a number of the neighboring counties. So that's going to be a huge impact there. There's just a lot of places, a lot of people that can get flooded out. And second of all, scientists and experts have said again and again, Houston has allowed unchecked development that made this flooding worse. Now, let's be clear, this flooding would have occurred, no matter what. I think that the amount of rainfall that has fallen is just so huge. However, scientists and experts say some of the damage could have been prevented had Houston developed better.
So you've got a city that has been building very rapidly. It also is shot through with waterways and bayous that make it prone to flooding. What was the reaction? You wrote this piece that basically said, look, our policies here in the city of Houston, it's growth plus climate change equals a disaster is coming our way. What was the reaction when you guys published that piece last year?
I think it was a pretty strong reaction. A lot of residents of Houston were encouraged to see the piece because they felt like their voices weren't being heard. They felt like there wasn't enough attention being paid to the issue of flooding in the city. So we got a very good response. And a lot of people were frankly shocked to hear what local officials told us when we interviewed them. The local officials in Houston did not think that development was contributing to flooding, which is not what scientists told us. The local officials in Houston didn't have any plans to study the effects of climate change in the city or think about whether the city needs to plan for more frequent and more intense rainstorms, which most scientists say are a sure thing for Houston. So there was a lot of shock around that as well.
From a removed perspective of watching this happen from afar, it seems like two things so far. One, the sheer amount of rain is just incomprehensible and would overwhelm any city anywhere in America. Number two, the responses of citizens and folks just going out and helping each other is incredible and heartening. What do you make of the municipal response, state and local response in terms of getting people out and rescuing folks?
I think they are doing the best that they can. I think it was hard to anticipate this amount of rain. I think it was hard to anticipate how widespread it would be. We were here, we've been here since Friday. Even on Saturday night, we still weren't sure if things were going to get as bad for Houston as they ultimately did. Certainly, city, state, and federal government don't have enough resources to deal with this storm.
Just listen to me.
Private citizens, we spoke with many
as
people
usual
who've been evacuated from their homes who couldn't get through to 911, couldn't get through to 311, were helped by private citizens from the roofs of their homes to whatever evacuation center they ended up at. So the resources are stretched thin for sure.
Yeah, we should note at this point that there's maybe 15 to 20 inches more forecast. I've seen reports that a bunch of evacuation centers are already starting to overfill, so that's something to keep your eye on as we move through the rest of this week. Nina Satija, thanks so much. That's a great report, and stay safe.
Thanks for having me.
Hey there, I'm Chris.
Thanks, Chris.
Well, isn't that ironic?
What's that, dear?
apparently people have been calling on Joel Osteen has a giant church that can house 16,000 people in Houston. And people have been calling on him to open the doors.
He won't open the fucking mega church?
No.
Oh.
Oh, but he's willing to,
fancy
start.
That.
But he's willing to help raise money that, he's going to keep half of.
If you watch or attend Joel Osteen, you're a moron. And you need to repent. Just say, God, I'm sorry for being a moron. Please help me stop. Because if you can't fucking tell that Joel Osteen is the quintessential just douchebag, con artist, false fucking shepherd piece of shit, get your eyes checked, something. He need to get his eye checked, man. Fucking dude blinks like he's being dripped under an interrogation. So it looks like we might have
I'm calling out a dumbass on Facebook for a stupid comment they made.
Okay.
Doing God's work and having your building and your business destroyed is two different things. I didn't know religion was a business. Since when?
What? What does that have to do with that?
I'm talking about Joel Osteen not opening up his church. Oh, you gotta worry about your building and your business. Well, since when is religion a fucking business?
If he's thinking about his church like a business, he should be publicly tortured to death over the course of several weeks before execution. That's how horribly wrong it is and societally degrading. Running a for-profit church. And he does. Oh, yes, he does. It's fucking obvious just looking at him. He runs a for-profit church. And this whole, frankly, evangelical message is a crock of shit. Anyways. I really want to find out more about the, there's Fox 26. Oh, and look, they've been intercepted by some random fucker, too. How about that? Shame on these Trumpian bastards. Fucking the Trump channels are already uploading videos making fun of people down there in Houston. Yeah. Fucking channel called Trump White House posted videos saying grown man crying like a baby during the Houston flood. Really? How black can your fucking soul be? How dark and shitty is your heart? What a terrible, lonely, spiteful place the world must be. What the fuck just happened? All the lives are gone now. Huh. Looks like KHOU's back up. It's still nothing but Derek Alfonso. And then I see another channel came up called Fox 26, which is another local Houston channel. And they were streaming from their Fox 26 channel. And then now, I see just a few minutes ago, I clicked on the Fox 26 one, and it's fucking Fuckle Nut Doohickey, whatever the hell that is, or whatever, wasn't Derek Alfonso, who the fuck that's supposed to be. Alright.
That is one area.
So let's go back to KHOU.
Normally, they would not tell you to evacuate at night, but circumstances are such that they want you to get out now. That lets you know how dangerous it is there.
Let's go back to our Josh Chapin now, who's been at Channelview High School that has turned into this shelter and place of refuge for people who are being evacuated out on the far east side. Josh?
Lenamy, I can't imagine you're picking up all your things after seeing all this water come into your home, and the only choice you really have is to get on one of these school buses here. These buses, there are, I count 3 of them, that are bound for the George R. Brown. You see folks with their lives, basically. I mean, how difficult is this?
It's horrible. It's horrible. First time ever going through this. And it's horrible, especially transferring with my kids.
What is your house like?
It's halfway when we left. The water was halfway when we left. So it's hard.
What have they told you besides going to the George R. Brown? You going to?
I haven't got anything yet. No information or nothing. So we just going to George R. Brown to see if we get more help.
What do you have with you? What were you able to take?
I have clothes and blankets for now. So hopefully we'll get more help when we get there.
I know we hear stories from all over town. We can walk with you as you get on the bus here. But how hard? I mean, you see people's lives being upended. How?
It's horrible. Like, I have to comfort my son crying the whole time because he never experienced it. He's 8. So he's crying and worried about if we're going to make it or if he's going to drown. It's horrible. It's crazy. Thank you.
See people with their possessions, their lives. It's hard to I mean, it is hard to stomach all of this because you see people picking up their lives. They don't know if they're going to come back to their homes completely ruined, half ruined, and you know, they really have to take a chance and get on these buses. Why don't we try and talk to somebody else here if they feel willing? Sir, were you able to grab from your house?
My house, my wallet, my phone. That's the main thing that we grabbed.
What do you got here?
We got some blankets from the shelter in here. We're gonna bring those with us so they don't go to waste. Out of my bag, I've got some extra food that we also grabbed on our way out. But that's what we just had time to grab. Water was coming in, and we had to grab a truck.
Where do you live, sir?
I live over in South Pines Bend in Houston.
It's difficult. I mean, you're carrying your life in your hands. You don't know if you're going to come back.
I don't know what's going to be left when I get back. There's just water was coming in, had to get out, took my money and ran.
How do you put all this into perspective? You move forward. You don't know what's next. I mean, you have your life, your health. Is that what this is about at this point?
I'm going to take it one day at a time at this point. I've got my girlfriend. She's going to be safe for now. We're going to move on. We're going to get through this. And I give everybody hope that we will get through this.
How wonderful is it the school is here?
I'm very grateful that they helped us out in a time of need. They gave us support. They fed us, and that stability right there, just such a wonderful feeling.
Thank you so much. Another these just horrible stories about people leaving their house and not knowing what they're going to come back to. Again, these buses are being loaded up. Some people are now getting on a second mode of transportation after perhaps being rescued by a boat or maybe a military-style vehicle. We've seen a number of Coast Guard helicopters flying over air. Thank God the rain has let up a little bit. When we first pulled into this parking lot here at Channelview High School, it was just coming down, cats and dogs. There were about 400 people that were here. We can see a number of them leaving at this hour to go down to the GRB, hopefully. So we don't know how many people are actually going to be staying in there. There were a number of people sleeping in the gym, trying to eat, trying to just dry off whatever is left of them, dry off their emotions to a certain extent. Because it's been just an epic couple of days for people here as it has been around the city. So we're going to keep talking to folks out here and share their stories with you because, you know, you feel for them, Lenamy. I mean, I do. You can't not.
I know, Josh, and we're just seeing this play out all across the area in different shelters. And just as quick as the shelter opens, they appear to be filling up. But there are more opening just as fast. All right, Josh Chapin, we'll check back in with you a little bit later. We want to get over to TransStar. That's where we find our Michelle Choi with more information for us from there. Michelle?
Hi, Mia. We have 2 mandatory evacuations in North Harris County right now due to some water possibly that could top over in the next couple of hours. We're going to be joined by Jeff Lindner with the Harris County Flood Control District. Hi, Jeff.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good. So kind of tell us about these 2 mandatory evacuations happening.
Yeah, so the most pressing issue right now is on the Inverness Forest subdivision. That levee is within just inches of being overtopped at this time, and so we really need people to get out of that mandatory evacuation area and go to the shelters that have been established that we let out earlier. If the water goes over the top of that levee, it will initially be slow, and then if it continues to rise, more and more water will go over the top of that levee. And the fear is that the pump system of the subdivision will flood, and they will not be able to pump their water out of the subdivision, so the subdivision will flood. And let me be clear that this is not for the entire Inverness Forest subdivision. It is that portion of the subdivision that's toward the north and toward the levee that's very low.
Gotcha. And what is the other subdivision we were talking about earlier?
The other subdivision is Northwood Pines, and this is at the Northgate Crossing levee. There is more freeboard, if you will, or more room on the levee at this particular location. However, there is an intake pipe that could potentially, in about a half a foot, allow water to enter into the subdivision. Their pumps are operational, so we're hoping at this point that we can keep the water level in the subdivision down. But as a precaution, there is the mandatory evacuation for that subdivision. Let me be clear, the other portion of that subdivision on the south side of the Hardy Toll Road is not in any danger. It's not in any danger.
Gotcha. And what about people who are not wanting to evacuate in the next couple of hours? Because they have till...
All right. If y'all ain't got nothing to say, we got some breaking news here from Louisiana.
Actually, it happened.
Would you want reading that, or you want me to do a dramatic reading of it? Because that's a damn good story
No, I'll
right
read
there.
it. This was around noon today in New Orleans. A lady in New Orleans posted on Facebook, "What I just witnessed just did me in. There was a man fueling up his boat at the Exxon, I think it's a Chevron, at Broad and Canal. Couple people asked the guy where he was going with that boat. He said, I'm going to Houston with the Cajun Navy. Random people, total strangers, throwing all the cash they had at him, offered to fill up his truck, fill up the boat tanks, buy him food. One guy asked if he wanted beer, laugh out loud. This, y'all, this is us. Not all the other bullcrap you see on the news and social media. Don't ever let anyone kill the giving spirit of the people of South Louisiana. We are forever grateful for all the help we received and will forever pay it forward."
That's awesome. So, you want to send out a link or something maybe?
Yeah, you can like totally take the 8-hour work face off of, scaring the people out there.
Yeah, I'm sure mine's a little less scary. With my 8 hours of fucking with the same thing.
Oh, me too. Holding clients' hands while they fly.
Alright, so now we're going back to the weather report apparently from KHOU, Houston, Texas.
County, good evening. At the moment, it's just light rain and drizzle Conroe out to Montgomery and Lake Conroe. There's moderate rain coming across Roman Forest down to the Lake Houston area and Atascocita. And then the big picture shows the whole problem is Harvey, who is still here, and it's still a tropical storm. Winds of 45 miles an hour now, but this is the track that it will slowly at first begin to take, and and then we expect it will accelerate off to the northeast, and it is going to get out of here eventually. Let's look at future track rainfall computer model forecast. By midnight tonight, it's still Chambers, Galveston, Southeast Harris, and Brazoria County getting the heaviest rain. Tomorrow morning at 8 a.m., still the southeast side, but look, it may be that a chunk of Harris County is getting a break by tomorrow morning, and then by tomorrow evening, at least this computer model tries to lift a lot of the rain out of here by tomorrow evening, tomorrow night, and then Wednesday morning, it's a little bit further out of here, although still Livingston, Polk, San Jacinto County, Liberty, up to Huntsville, you could still see some rain going into Wednesday morning, and then by Wednesday evening, I really think we're going to not only get it out of here, but maybe Wednesday afternoon and evening, we could see a peak or two of sun. Watch the updated forecast track from the Hurricane Center. There's the track, putting it southeast of Galveston by early Wednesday morning, so late Tuesday night, early Wednesday morning, and then by Wednesday 1 in the afternoon, it's out of here. Not completely, but I think by Wednesday 1 in the afternoon, that location will be far enough to the Houston's northeast that a lot of the rain will be pulling out of here. So Tuesday night into Wednesday morning, I think we begin to see the tapering down of the heavy rain threat. Winds will still be a problem because the ground's so soft that any tree whose roots are not quite solid could actually be blown over because we're so soupy with the soil. Gusts to near tropical storm force, or will be tropical storm force gusts in Galveston, perhaps in Anahuac and down toward the coastline. Gusts to 27 to 30 for inland areas as well. That's as we head into tomorrow morning. And then there's that circulation heading off to the northeast. It could be a tropical storm force gust, Anahuac to Liberty by Tuesday evening. So eventually, we're going to get into the process here where we're drying out, going into Wednesday morning, more of a west wind. And then by Wednesday evening, I think before sunset on Wednesday, we may actually see some peaks of sunshine out here. Rainfall forecast for tonight through into tomorrow morning and through Wednesday and Wednesday afternoon. Notice how on the west side, they're much lower rainfall totals. This is very good news for the Barker and Addicks reservoirs. We don't need any more rain. Perhaps the rain totals will be lighter on the west side. They could still be quite heavy on the east side. In fact, and this just kind of defines the danger here. It's a very tight gradient between not much rain and a whole lot of rain. Anahuac, this computer model is forecasting as much as 15 additional inches, whereas you're only getting 3 to half an inch from downtown westward between now and Wednesday in the evening. So it still may be that, especially Galveston County, Dickinson, over to Chambers County, Liberty County, you guys could still be facing additional flooding threats. Here's the extended forecast. This is refreshing, although we still have rain tomorrow and maybe Wednesday morning. By Wednesday evening, a little bit of sun is possible. And then Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, we're going to get a chance to dry out as normal summer conditions return. I thought you guys might like to see the sunshine on the extended forecast, and I showed it to you.
Yeah. You know it. So many people need to see that.
Yeah.
All right, Dave, thanks so much. We need to get back out to our Melissa Correa. She's along 249 there between Louetta and Cypress Wood. She's been following evacuations of 2 medical facilities there. Melissa?
Hey there, guys. The picture is just breaking our heart. These folks are sitting in wheelchairs, evacuated from Health South Medical Center here, sitting in the wheelchairs here in the rain, waiting for these ambulances that are lined up along 249 between Louetta and Cypress Wood to pull up, and these guys will be taken away to safety. Since we've been here, Brett Buffington and I are going to wager maybe 2 dozen to 3 dozen patients have been evacuated. But again, we don't know how long Health South has been at this. We know their building, from medical staff pointing it out to us, is behind the Hyatt Hotel. Brett is pushing out for us here. We're working, sorry, I'm messing with the camera. We're using Storm Tracker to use these images, hoping you all can see some stuff. The hospital or the medical facility is behind a Hyatt Hotel, which we've heard has been evacuated as well. And it's also near the St. Luke's Hospital, which we alerted viewers was evacuated earlier today as well. And so now these folks at Health South are getting pulled out of their medical facility, hopefully getting to some solid, higher, drier ground shortly. But what I can tell you is that the boats are coming from quite a distance away. You can see them there. among, the shrubs that are along 249. And based on some of the signage that we're seeing, they're crossing the street. What was the street, it's now flooded. It's a river out there. You can see the cars, and you can see the patients bundled up in ponchos and whatever else staff has been able to scrounge up. That's the boat, I believe, Brett, that we saw launching when we first came to you out here. I don't know, maybe an hour or so ago, Len and Mia, when we were higher up on 249, closer to Cypress Wood. They're now boating these guys over closer to Louetta, and then again they'll load them up into ambulances. Several private ambulances are on standby to take these patients. We still don't know where. All of the first responders are working so diligently and quickly to get these folks in and out. But as far as these ambulances are concerned, I can tell you they're coming from near and far. My uncle happened to be a firefighter in the Rio Grande Valley, and he brought up ambulances and fire trucks from a 5-hour drive south of here to help in situations like this. And so these are the ambulances and the resources that are being put to use now. These are private boats. These are not boats linked to fire departments or police departments. These are citizens bringing their own boats out here to help make this happen, which is so incredible. And this is why Harris County yesterday started asking for private citizens to connect with the Harris County Fire Marshal's office to get these boats out here. And again, as these rescues continue, let me remind you guys that they still need that sort of help. And if you have a boat and you're farther south and you can make it into town, the number is 713-881-3100 to connect your boat to the fire marshal's office. Again, 713-881-3100. And while we've got this picture up and we're talking about evacuations, group evacuations, neighborhood evacuations, apartment complexes needing to be evacuated, Harris County has set up a phone number for that as well. 713-426-9404. Again, if you need a group evacuation, 713-426-9404. You can find that on KHOU's website. I've also been sharing it on my Facebook page if you can just dial up your phone. But there's what we're looking at tonight. Well past 9 o'clock as we're nearing 9:30 p.m. Dozens of patients inside the Health South Medical Facility here along 249 between Cypress Wood and Louetta are sitting in wheelchairs, getting boated basically to shore, which is Highway 249. And as Mia put it so beautifully, they're delicately being unloaded and put into those ambulances to get to hospitals. Again, we don't know how many patients. We do know more boats are showing up to help. That woman is smiling. These are the incredible. That's incredible. It is incredible. Here you all have, in the rain, folks coming out on their own, wanting to help, finding ways to help in ways that they can. And I don't know how long this scene is going to continue here in this corner of Harris County. It's a harrowing evacuation that's underway right now. Quite a bit of water. It has just swallowed up this area of 249 near Cypress Wood and Louetta. And there goes that woman off the boat. And you can see the water. You can see those water bottles and debris down below. And they're getting her, hopefully, into an ambulance soon. And it's just an incredible image. And we're so hopeful that these folks are okay, because in situations like this, guys, you have to be concerned about what the stress does to folks, not only physically but emotionally. And it looks like they've got this organized. They've got those ambulances lined up, and as one boat comes in, another boat comes out. And Harris County Sheriff's deputies are blocking off as many lanes of 249 as they can. There is still traffic moving in both directions, but Health South Medical Center now added to the list of evacuations. We heard St. Luke's earlier here on 249. We heard Ben Taub, a Trauma One hospital in the medical center, evacuated yesterday. We've got a fella there with his hat on, taking a little bit of himself with him as he moves to higher ground. Pretty incredible stuff, Helen and Mia.
Troy is good. Melissa, I know you've been watching this evacuation, very delicate evacuation there with folks being moved out of that rehabilitative hospital. Earlier, St. Luke's had been evacuated as well. Have you been able to just kind of get a head count on the number of people that you've watched come out of that hospital since you've been out there?
I'm going to venture to guess, Mia, in the last hour that we've had our eyes on this, we've seen at least 24 people come out of the hospital. You're watching another group now. And it just depends, unfortunately, on their medical situation. When we first pulled up and realized that they were evacuating patients, in one boat we saw as many as 6 people. That guy was able to pull out a backpack and some of his personal items, which is great. Because in situations like this, when you're not in control, it's nice to be able to have some of your personal belongings. But in other situations, like this one that we're watching, I believe only 3 men have been able to get out. And you're seeing the wheelchairs that are being used. Those wheelchairs are being loaded onto the boats because, Mia, as you mentioned, it is a rehabilitative hospital. And so these folks can't necessarily get up and walk to safety. And so I'm going to venture to guess about 24 patients in the last hour. We don't know when they started, and we're going to be out here for a while with them because we don't know how long it's going to take them to wrap up. And the image you see there, Brett, if we could stop there for a second, the image you see, that is the Hyatt Hotel. That was the hotel that we believe was evacuated earlier as well. And we believe from talking to medical staff on the ground that the Health South facility is behind this, and across the way is also St. Luke's. And so just the act of getting to these patients is daunting as we pan through all of the floodwaters in these parking lots. And that's part of why this is so tedious, is because they have to navigate these floodwaters. They are moving very quickly as more water continues to pour through the area. And so I would imagine this is going to be one of those very slow but steady procedures. There we see another boat on its way. It's something to see. Here comes another group. They're trying to get them out, guys.
So I know the people out there heading up the evacuation. Yeah. Melissa, I understand that these people, at the moment are focused on those patients and getting them out, and perhaps because of where you are and where they are, it's hard to communicate with them. Have you heard where they're taking these patients?
Not yet, and it is a little bit, you're not seeing me in the image. Normally I would have no problem walking up and maybe asking a question or two to someone who's not unloading a patient. But based on just our technicalities of being live out here, I'm literally tethered to our vehicle. And so in order to bring you guys the pictures, I've got to stay close to the car, which is several feet from where all of this is happening. But I'm hoping, like I said, we're going to be out here. I'm hoping once we have a quick break, I can ask a couple of questions, because I can only imagine that the families of these patients are going to want to know where they go. You see them here. This group has bed sheets and some linens over them. That man appears to be wearing an oxygen mask over his face to help him through all of this. And so we need to know where these guys and gals are going, and hopefully we can find out soon. But as you see, as we're pulling out from the cameras on our weather tracker vehicle, we are a little bit of a distance away from them. But that is definitely one thing I will ask, and I'm hoping that you guys can come back to me and I can give you an update soon as these rescues continue.
Melissa, we definitely understand the logistics of it all, and we know you're doing your best out there to bring us both the information and the images. That's for sure. I know in the Woodlands they have a Health South hospital there, and they have others in the area. So perhaps, maybe they'll take those patients there, just like St. Luke's also has a sister hospital in the Woodlands. But we're going to work to find out more information about those patients and bring you more images of that delicate evacuation there.
All right, Melissa Correa, thank you. We will let Melissa go for the time being so she can go and ask some questions.
All right, we have some more breaking news from you from Louisiana, for you from Louisiana. From you for Louisiana, maybe. Could be.
He's agreed to say.
Yeah, it was. So, if you're listening from the affected areas there in Texas, we have some more positive news for you. I don't want to say anything is good news at this point. Good news would be everything's dry, and that's about the only good news y'all want to hear. I know. We know. We've been through that. But the Ascension Parish Sheriff and a bunch of his deputies are now on their way, and with boats and high water vehicles, I believe.
And supplies.
So, and more rescue medical supplies. So, we're doing everything we can, and nobody's forgetting about y'all. Hang in there.
Next, Creekside Christian Fellowship on Highway 36, George Junior High School, that's on Airport Avenue, Morton Ranch High School, that's on France Road, and Sugarland First United Methodist Church on Eldridge.
So it's good to have all this information, because I know a lot of people who are under either mandatory evacuation or voluntary. You're all very nervous and worried about where you can go if you have no relatives or friends to go to. So go to our website, khou.com. You can get a complete list. Now, let's talk about the effects of the Addicks and Barker reservoirs. Those are the dams out on the west side, and why this is important for folks who live out there. We heard from the Harris County Flood Control District guy who has been breaking this down and explaining what all of this means. For the Addicks Reservoir, all of the subdivisions on the western edge of the Addicks Reservoir, and I mean there are dozens, so I'm not going to name them, but you can go to the Harris County Flood Control District website and look at that, but I'm sure you know where you're located. All of those subdivisions on the western edge of the Addicks Reservoir, you have to keep watch as they start to release, or they have been releasing water from the Addicks Reservoir. It could affect your property, your streets. Depending on where you are, the closer you are to the reservoir, the more likely you are to get water, perhaps affect your structure, or at least streets will be affected. The further away you are, you may have more time to try and deal with this situation. So that's for people in dozens of subdivisions near the Addicks Reservoir, and you're going to do the Barker.
I am going to do the Barker, but first I want to let people know what they're seeing on their screen right now. This is Melissa Correa's camera. We're showing you live images up on the northwest side, Northwest Harris County. Melissa was able to, and I knew she would, just that fast, go get some updated information in regards to the evacuations happening there at Health South, Hospital. Melissa?
Hey there, Mia. We just spoke to some DPS troopers who are helping to coordinate this rescue. They told me there are about 18 patients left, including this round of patients you see being loaded up into the ambulance. About 90 men and women will have been evacuated from Health South Medical Center here on 249 tonight, and we're hoping these evacuations happen before 10 p.m. Because as we all know, the road situation gets all the more dangerous the later we're all out. And so these ambulances are taking those 90 patients to two different Health South facilities, one in Humble, the other in Cypress. according to the first responders who were on the scene. So between those 90 patients, they'll either go to Humble or Cypress. That's the best information we can tell family members of these patients at this point if they're wondering where they are. After those 18 patients are, these last 18 are evacuated, then the boaters will go in, we're told, and they'll evacuate the rest of the staff, the rest of that rehabilitative hospital staff who's been there wrapping and bundling these patients up in ponchos and plastic bags, in towels and in sheets. And here comes another round as well. They're moving as quickly as they possibly can. It looks like maybe that boat is going out. But we're in the final round of the evacuations here. This is at least the third building in the 249 Cypress Wood area that will have been evacuated by the end of today. Health South added to the list of the Hyatt Hotel out here and St. Luke's Hospital. We know that St. Luke's has multiple locations throughout the area. Unfortunately, those evacuations have ended, and so I can't get the information readily as to where those patients have gone. But take a look at all these private ambulances that basically have come in from every corner of Texas to help transport these patients to either facilities in Humble or in Cypress. And fortunately, while it is raining, we have seen harder rainfall today. At this point, I would describe it as maybe a hard drizzle, and those are the conditions that they're dealing with. And at this point, they're being escorted by Harris County Sheriff's deputies who are, as you guys can see, blocking off a portion of 249 between Louetta and Cypress Wood. But what a daunting task to have to do. These patients are limited in mobility. We've seen many of them come out in wheelchairs in those boats and then be lifted onto the ground, carried onto the ground. We're
Come on back, man. Don't be gay, Sparky. So apparently we're having some more technical differences. And doesn't appear as though my phenomenal cosmic powers are any help. Alright, so while we're waiting on them, let's check in with our local TV stations. It is currently not raining out here. But we expect that to change here shortly. Oh, and of course we have no reception.
Rescue helicopters have been dropping off thousands of people from where I am. As you said, downtown Houston, no way in, no way out. I spent the night Saturday night on the interstate because
oh yeah, this is going real low.
not in an area that is big too far, except for those underpasses that you see. They're out of here. here very easily. People were at the Kroger today standing in line. Take a listen. They felt they
As you can see, there is a reason why I use the internet for television. Well, this is fucking stupid. Alright, so that sucks. Nothing. And more nothing. And NBC. Shite. So we have a choice between nothing and shite. And fat shite. And of course, technical differences.
Alright, so let's see what else we got here. Could go into the usual newsy news, I suppose. I was going to wait until a later broadcast for that, so I can change the title and whatnot. I have more upcoming Magna stuff. Go check that out, y'all. It's the Marine Aquarist Convention or Conference of North America. And you want to talk about some cool fish and corals and just all kinds of cool stuff. Just nifty. Spiffy even. For some reason the KHAU thing isn't showing up here like it used to.
New Orleans is seeing street flooding right now. Like really bad.
Right, breaking from New Orleans, we're having street flooding.
Apparently it's drying up as it gets from New Orleans to rotate around this way, and that's why we haven't been seeing the last couple of bans. However, they are calling in the next 2 to 3 hours that our rain is about to pick up again pretty heavily.
Yeah, it's kind of remarkable if you look at these big old thunderheads. Right there, north of Baton Rouge, where we are, is where they just seem to come and start to dissipate. So we had a decent little bit of rain earlier, but generally speaking, it's a lot worse in just our surrounding immediate areas.
I watched lightning strike across the street from work.
That's cool.
Yeah, and then like thunder that wouldn't end. The new attorney was like, "What the hell was that?" Just laughed my ass off.
Houston police captain says the need level is overwhelming. Well, we got
And part of the problem is
people
that
coming to help you, man.
the part of the problem is that the I-10 by Beaumont going into Texas between Lake Charles and Beaumont is closed, so
Well,
people
it's
are having
supposed
to
to
drive
not be a
around.
problem if they're letting emergency crews in.
Not that way. They're having to find other ways to get around, and state troopers are there turning away people who aren't like with a boat and don't have like a bunch of supplies or are not medically certified. And apparently, some people are saying the Department of, like, they're having to get clearance through the Department of Homeland Security first. Like, it's so weird, some of the stuff that's coming out from the border right there.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I believe all of it. I'm just
Y'all keep fucking around, see what happens to you. Humans in general, attention, attention. God has had enough of your bullshit.
Obviously.
I think I've made that clear for quite some time. And you know what? God is God, whether you like it or not. And you know what else? God is God, whether He likes it or not. So quit your bitching. TDPS is changing. Oh, David Packman's fading puberty. Sorry. Was that too low? Oh, that was funny. That was fun. He is a youthful looking dude.
Dump's been kind of quiet today.
He's going through changes. He's growing hair in funny places.
Sounds like a personal problem.
Maybe eventually he can grow a beard.
Again, sounds like a personal problem. Dump's been kind of quiet on the Twit box today. Even despite what happened earlier. Thought he'd be, more fire and fury talk and whatnot.
Really? He really is a weak motherfucker.
Yep.
Just the weakest president we've ever had.
You are the weakest link. Goodbye.
Oh, look. Speaking of which, new details emerge of the president's business dealings with Russia. How about that? More new business dealings. More. We already knew about a whole lot, but now there's more.
Una más?
2018 Chevy Camaro ZL1. It's got canards on the front. Oh, they've gotten serious with that one. I suppose I could look at a couple little seconds of it. Come on, show me the car. Where's the car? That's a road. That's the forest. It's a dude with a beard. There's the car. Okay. It's a dude with a beard.
Giant splitter flanked by those insane canards. Dive.
Can I get it on the fucking light? Oh, yeah. So that's the front of the new Camaro ZL1. A bit on the aggressive side.
Plain. In fact, they're so aggressive, you can't sell this car in Europe because it'll...
Yep. Bless you.
Sorry, thank you. We have seen like a 30-degree drop in temperature over the last 2 days. My body is not accustomed to that drastic temperature drop.
Oh, it looks like David's picking up on a new story the story too here. Oh, the Russian, the Trump Tower in Moscow. Oh, y'all are finally reporting about that. Oh, how nice. Hopefully they have some more concrete information about it. Than my Ukrainian hearsay I reported a fucking year ago. I kind of want to put that Keith Olbermann video on, but that's his video. That's not new. That's his commentary. I'm not going to make a commentary on a commentary. And I hardly ever feel the need to do a rebuttal of Keith Olbermann. The man is a genius. Anyways. I might end the broadcast just so I can go watch Keith Oldman, because
yeah, that's why I
definitely fans. No, but I can mute it so you can plug it up.
That would be lovely too.
Okay. The sacred nose of science
And
has
pudding
been
pops.
blown.
That's what she said.
Oh, so here's KHOU 11. Wow. That's fucked up that local weather broadcasts are being more suppressed than even my channel. Still got a lot of viewers, but you know this should be like hundreds of thousands of people watching right now. Seriously, people all over the world are watching this shit right now.
No, it's being, actually from what I'm hearing, it's being about as suppressed as our show was.
This string right here.
But what I'm saying is, major media is not reporting on the way that they didn't report on our flood last year.
And if we can come out while we're waiting for more folks, let's give people a better image of what 249 looks like, Brett. Can we show them, I don't know, either the ambulances that are lined up or the ambulances that continue to take off? He's working with us, folks. Live TV for you. They're all the first responders coordinating this effort. We don't know when the evacuation started. We only know that they had to get 90 people out. And in about an hour or so that we've been out here, maybe 24 had been pulled out.
Really?
We can see that regular traffic is pouring through the north end of 249 as ambulances are making their ways to those Health South locations in either Humboldt or Cypress. And so maybe we can give viewers some perspective as they're watching the rescue that's happening here, guys, to show just how slowly these operations move. As soon as I get off live TV, I go straight to social media, and our inboxes are just flooded right now with folks looking for help, looking to get out of their neighborhoods. And quite a few folks I'm talking to are saying, I'm on the list. You know, the Coast Guard says I'm on the list. 911 says I'm on the list. I've been on the list since 2 p.m. is what some people say. But when you're realizing how slowly some of these rescues have to happen because of the requirements of the person being rescued. Here this man is, another patient. When you realize how slowly it is, and then these guys have to unload and load their boats and then drive and deal with impassable roadways. This is why, unfortunately, Houston, these rescues are taking the time they take. Houston police have already said, Harris County has already said they've gone through more than 2,000 rescues. Yesterday, they had more than 56,000 911 calls. I mean, we're getting inundated, but there's light at the end of the tunnel. Folks are getting out, and tonight, hopefully everyone will be a little warmer, a little drier. Len and Mia?
Melissa, it is incredible to see what these folks are doing to help the people who are most in need from these medical centers and hospitals up there. 249 near Chasewood is the area. Josh Chapin is on the east side of Houston right now, and he's got his own rescue situation. Josh?
Well, Len, we are here at East End Houston Parkway, Service Road, and Wallaceville Road is about 10 minutes down the road from where we are. As you can see, I'm on top of a dump truck. Yeah, a dump truck. This is the type of vehicle that has been going into neighborhoods really all around town. This one has been going into neighborhoods around town. I want you to also, Eric is going to walk over. You see the kind of scene that we're dealing with here. You see folks, it's just hard to look at, really, under this gas station canopy, waiting. They've been rescued out of their neighborhoods, and they're waiting to be transported to area shelters. We don't know which one, perhaps the GRB, but they're here with their dogs, their possessions, pretty much everything. So it's crazy. Eric can come back here this way. We're actually going to talk to one of these guys. Tell me your name again, sorry. Richard. Yeah. How did this all happen tonight? You said that it's very sort of a weird, weird how this happened.
Yeah, we were just sitting at home and we saw a lot of people getting, drowning and everything. So we took our lifeboats. That didn't work. So thanks to what is it called? CSI. He helped us. He let us borrow this dump truck to carry people out. I've been driving it back and forth, helping people out because it's been really raining bad. And so far, I'm really thankful that nothing had happened, bad. And with the help of our friends and everything like that, we've been putting people up and everything. And my best friend Daniel right here, Danny Boy, Harrison, Joseph, Felipe. Without them, I couldn't do anything without them. If this isn't the Houston spirit, if this isn't the Texas spirit, I don't know what it is. Yeah, H-Town, yeah. Well, you see all these people. You rescued, you also lifted some people out of their homes and stuff.
We'd be picking them up from the courthouse. Everybody going to the courthouse, we pick them up from there, bring them over here. We've done a few trips already, but it's getting worse over there.
These are the kids I used to go to school with.
Suffering. You've seen all the pictures, and you're helping some of these people who are really embedded in these pictures. What has been going through your mind?
I think about it like when I see those people, I think about it. What if they were my family? How would I want to rescue them? And since I'm taking the opportunity right now to do this, I'm like, you know what? I think everybody's my family. I think some of them, if they have the opportunity to do it, I think they will help us too if we were in their situation.
How hard is it to get down and to rescue these people, also knowing that they don't know what they're going to come back to? They got all their things with them. They got their pets and maybe whatever they were able to grab, a little bit of food, and you look into their eyes and they're like, what next?
We got faith in God. We got faith in God. We're trying to come back. Found and saving everything. I don't know what to tell you. We're just trying to help people out. Why would we stop? Helping people, we know we can help them.
I hope the mayor is seeing this, and even though you probably will never find us or anything like that, I hope you can at least thank us and say, hey, we're not from the U.S. Army, we're not from the Marines, we're not cops, we're just a bunch of teenagers from a small town saying, you know what, let's get up and help all these people,
Well, thank you guys for what you're doing and for rescuing these people again. It's amazing to see this spirit, people coming together, friends, strangers, neighbors, really in all parts of Houston here, and helping those in need here on the east side of town. We're going to go talk to some of the people that have been rescued here. This is also a staging area. We're in the Walmart parking lot. As I said, Sam Houston Parkway, Feeder Road, and Wallaceville Road. We're just south of Cloverleaf. And Deputy Constable's at stage here. You're from Cloverleaf, yeah. There's a Panera Bread right here, and they're trying to get people where they need to go. But it really is wonderful, inspiring to see the human spirit at work tonight, Lenimia.
Yes, indeed, it is, Josh Chapin, and we're seeing it time and time again across the city. Good Samaritans, volunteers, of course, our first responders by profession, rising to the occasion and going in and rescuing people. The sight of those heavy trucks, too, such a relief for people in those communities of concern. So many of these people, once they've been rescued, they're being taken to shelters. I want to let you know about a new shelter that just made it on the list. It's not going to be fully operational until 11 o'clock tomorrow morning, but in case you're planning, or perhaps, bright and early in the morning, you need to evacuate, Kempner High School, that is in Fort Bend ISD, so in Fort Bend County, on Ross Road. They're going to open up that high school for a shelter. And we're looking at live pictures once again from Northwest Harris County at Highway 249 in Chasewood. If you're familiar with where Louetta is on Highway 249, it's right in that area. This is a Health South Rehabilitative Hospital, and we've been watching the evacuation underway there of patients, 90 patients total at this facility. Probably 25 minutes ago, maybe 20 minutes. We heard from our Melissa Correa. She's out there live, and she's likely going and finding out more information right now as we speak. But we learned from her that they have just about 18 patients left that they need to evacuate, and those patients they are evacuating safely to facilities in Humble and Cypress. Melissa's back on with us. Melissa, you have any new information for us? We're trying to get some new information. As soon as I got off the air, I checked social media just to see if there were any questions that folks needed to ask. And somebody pointed out, Mia, that there might be another hospital or medical facility in the area near Vintage Park. And some folks are saying that those folks have been trapped in since Friday. Now, if they have been evacuated or not, I don't know. But I do know that voters are out here. So that's one of the things that I do want to find out is if they're going to be doing any search and rescue operations in the area before they wrap up. But right now, their main focus is getting these last few patients out of Health South. And getting them moved, as you mentioned, over to Humble and Cypress locations. And at this point now, earlier in the evening, we were seeing quite a few patients packed into one boat. And unfortunately, at this point now, it's looking like it's one at a time or so. I'm staring at some folks who are on standby, trying to see if I can get their attention because, again, I'm tethered to our news vehicle. This is part of the frustration for me in this. Of course, I want to get you all fresh information as I can, and so I'm having to do it during our breaks. But here we are carrying just folks in wheelchairs to higher ground, and even the higher ground is soaking wet. There's still water on this portion, this shoulder. I believe it's an exit here on 249 to go towards Luetta. I believe they're using what would be considered maybe the exit ramp to get out to Luetta. More and more boats are coming in, but again, it's only one or two patients at a time now because all of these patients appear to be in wheelchairs, and so there's just not enough space on the boat to handle as many people as there would be if we were going into an apartment complex or a neighborhood. And it looks as though the medical staff, which is still there at Health South facilitating all of this, has packed medications, personal belongings, documents, and we believe that's what some of these patients are carrying with them in their hands or in their backpacks. All that vital information that we all think to gather in storms like this, the staff has been doing ahead of these evacuations. A few boats are now coming in. I know we're keeping tighter shots on some of this, and you see that there. Another woman in a wheelchair, and
It is 10 o'clock.
Heart aches for them, and I wonder what they're thinking as they're leaving the facility where they were getting rehabilitative treatment. That woman's waving. She's smiling. She's in good spirits, it seems. But this is their first glimpse, really, of what Harvey has done to Houston. They're just kind of taking it all in. It appears as though. I can't ask them, of course. But I would imagine being in the hospital and seeing the rain come down is one thing, but to be evacuated by boat in the middle of it all here at 249 between Luetta and Cypresswood, well, that's a completely different situation. And as you can see, as we're waiting for that next boat to approach, there are quite a few emergency responders ready to get them. That woman is smiling. The other woman, you can see she has something with her in her hand. We believe just because they're coming out of a hospital that it's likely their personal information, their medications, instructions for staff to treat them either in Humble or Cypress. Again, if you've been watching this with us, about 90 patients from Health South Medical Center here along 249 are now in the middle of being evacuated. Water just overtook this area, just consumed this area. That woman is wearing a face mask. She has it drawn under her chin. The other gal in front of her is bundled up as best she can. It's good to see that they got him dressed and everyone seems to be in good spirits
and it seemed like they really did as much preparation as they could, which is basically what Mayor Turner has asked all of Houston and the surrounding areas to do as we take these press conferences throughout the day. Just continue to be ready in case you do need to be evacuated. Have these things ready to go. And not only have they covered her to try to, shield her from the rain a little bit, they've covered this woman's legs. And this is the point where we're at, guys, where they're carrying them out, wheelchair and all, to get them loaded up onto the ambulance. And hopefully someone can get an umbrella over that woman, because it looks like there's at least a patient or two ahead of her. This is taking up quite a bit of time, because they've got to be boated out, and then they're being placed on 249, and then these private ambulances are backing up, and they have to make sure every single patient that they're transporting is buckled in and is safe, and they know who they're taking. They've got all their personal information, and only then can the ambulance then drive away. And that might be why this has taken so long. I mean, for one, look at all that water that these rescuers are dealing with. But two, they don't want a backup of patients out here in the rain in 249. So it's one of these well thought out, it's got to be well planned, executed evacuations out here. A little different from what we're seeing in neighborhoods across the Houston metro, where they're bringing people out basically by the boatload. On 45 North in Cypresswood, where we were earlier, National Guard troops were able to get into those areas, and they basically got as many people as they could in the back of their trucks, and then the National Guard would take them over to shelters. In this case, folks are going to Health South Rehabilitative Hospitals in either Humble or Cypress, and so that's where this situation is now. Again, several minutes ago, authorities told me they had about 18 patients left, and we thought it would be much sooner. I was hopeful that this would happen before 10 p.m., but it's 10 o'clock now, and we're seeing why it's taking so long, because here we have one patient with some volunteers or first responders. That man has his hand on her shoulder. She's got a towel or a sheet covered over her head. Her personal belongings are in her lap as she sits there in a wheelchair. It looks like we've got another patient behind her. Some of these boats are fortunate to have seats, and so that's where we're at. This woman has both of her legs elevated, and this is where we're at. And we just ask folks for patience. It's clear that these boaters that are lending their supplies and these first responders are out doing these search and rescues. And right now, these guys just have their attention focused on these patients at 249. But this is happening, as Josh mentioned, this is happening all across the area, not only the city of Houston, but all of these outlying communities and counties. That's where we're at. You see that motor picking up water there as another boat continues to make its way towards 249. And again, we're hopeful that if there's anyone else in this area, 249 between Louetta and Cypresswood, that these guys would go out and double check on everyone before they packed up and left. I mean, I'm sure that's exactly what they're going to do. Another ambulance, you don't see it in the shop, but another ambulance that's parked near our weather vehicle is getting ready to pull up, and others are going out. And basically, this is what's happening on 249 while regular traffic is passing through in both directions. At least at this point on 249, you can get through the Cypresswood, Louetta area, and we're thankful for that, because this is the only way these folks are getting out tonight. Guys?
Can we take David directly? Okay. Our Melissa Correa there, bringing us really a play-by-play of the situation in Northwest Harris County, the evacuation of patients from a Health South Rehab Center. They've been evacuating the patients there, 90 total count. They're getting the last of the patients, but then again, the evacuation isn't done once they're finished with the patients. There's still staff there at the hospital collecting all of the important stuff that will be needed, including medication and supplies. All right, we have weather that's really popped up here just in the past few minutes that we want to get with David Paul about. David?
Hey, Mia. Well, because Harvey has moved further south and east into the Gulf of Mexico, a lot of the heaviest rain now has transitioned to our south and east side of the viewing area. So let's get right to the radar. Here's the big picture. There's Houston and southeast Texas just getting lambasted. This is a new tornado warning, and as these tornado warnings start to pop up, that's another indication of exactly where the heaviest rain is. And there it is. Coming across the Baltimore Peninsula, that's not far from Crystal Beach. This one is in effect until 10:15. This may go across the bay, so San Leon, Dickinson, League City, that may end up heading into your neck of the woods here on the west side of Galveston Bay. And you're also getting very heavy rain here from Seabrook to League City, NASA Clear Lake, you guys are getting dumped on, San Leon, and then across 45 to Santa Fe, even reaching all the way to Alvin, as this heavy band of rain is coming across the coastal counties right now. And that is a direct result of the center of the storm. And just leave the view here. The center of the storm is way out here in the Gulf of Mexico now. So instead of the heaviest rain being up here in Montgomery County, northern Harris County, you can see how it actually just kind of is beginning to fizzle out, or at least decrease in intensity on the north and west side of Harris County, and increase in intensity on the south and east side. So it is Brazoria County, Fort Bend County, Galveston County, Chambers County, and you see the lightning here in Chambers County. That's another indication that we have intense rain and thunderstorms here in Chambers County. So let's zoom on in down to the other counties now. Here's Harris County, where downtown the rain is let up. It was very heavy about an hour ago, and now it's moderate rain. Heavy rain has turned to lighter rain on up here across the Cypress Creek watershed and the Spring Creek watershed. Of course, the damage is done, but we don't want any more damage. This area south of 290 up here has rain that falls into those Addicks and Barker Reservoir. The rain is letting up there for the moment, so that's good. You see the flash flood warning for Harris, Fort Bend, Brazoria, Galveston, Chambers includes more than 3.5 million people, in effect till 11:15, but that's just kind of the ongoing situation here. Here's Fort Bend County, and so it's a moderate to heavy band of rain here just south of 69, so Missouri City, you guys are getting dumped on. Sugarland, that's drifting toward your neighborhoods as well, Rosenberg too, and of course we're watching the Brazos River through here very carefully, because all the levees in here, most of the neighborhoods there have flood warnings and are asked to be evacuated, because we're just worried that the Brazos River may rise so much that some of those levees may break. That's right, Brazos River, as you head down here through the Rosenberg area, and then Wallace to East Bernard, you see some of the areas there that we're watching the levees there. All right, so what's the rain going to do? Let's take a look at our future track as we head into tonight. Here's the storm offshore, and then here's, as we head into 10 o'clock, here we are with that heaviest rain transitioning to our coastal counties. And as we head into tomorrow, 1 a.m., 2 a.m., 3 a.m., see, it's the southeast side that may end up with some of the heaviest rain, although it does back some of that into Harris County, so we're not out of the woods yet. Liberty County, Harris County, Brazoria County, Galveston County. This is 6 and 7 and 8 a.m. tomorrow. But most of the rain may be in Galveston. Galveston, you may pick up 5, 6, 7 inches of rain tonight and tomorrow morning. We go into tomorrow noon. Look at where all the heavy rain is by noon. A lot of it, this is an updated forecast model, a lot of that takes it closer to where the center will be at noon tomorrow, which is off the coast. So maybe we can get a lot of the heavy rain to actually transition offshore tomorrow at noon. That would be nice. And then here we go into the afternoon. It's possible a lot of that rain could be offshore. Now, again, I say possible because this is a computer model, and anytime you have a forecast, there is uncertainty, but that's the possibility. Let's see what the rain total forecast has done. Has it updated? Yeah, it has. These are lower rain totals than at least we had yesterday at this time. Yesterday at this time, the computer model was suggesting we could see another 10 to 15 inches overnight tonight. Now it's suggesting from now through 9 a.m. tomorrow morning, we get 2 to 4 inches of rain, a much decreased rainfall forecast compared to last night at this time. So that's good, but it's bad that it's still raining because we just can't handle anymore. It's all just causing the bayous to continue to rise out there. Winds may be a factor, especially on the coast. This is a wind gust forecast. The ground is so soupy from all the rain that some trees could be blown over by these tropical storm force winds. With Harvey, as he moves up the coast, you see gusts to 38, 39, 40, 43. This is tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. as the center is offshore. Tropical storm force gusts, even possible in the downtown area, could cause some trees to come down. So the power outage threat is still there. That's the bottom line on the wind forecast. Here is the track from the Hurricane Center, taking it up the east to the east of Houston and Galveston. That's good. That would put us on the cleaner side in theory. Although what we are seeing now is a lot of the rain transitioning to the center of Harvey. And then Harvey moves up to the north and east of us, and this is by Wednesday morning. So I think Tuesday night into Wednesday morning, the storm begins to get far enough away that our significant rain threat decreases. Again, that's the position, the Louisiana border by Wednesday morning. And then Harvey's up and out of here as the upper level winds finally grab Harvey and just lift him out of here. I can barely even say the name. Here's the extended forecast. Tuesday, more rain. Tuesday night, rain chances maybe begin to settle down. And then we go into Wednesday, where maybe a mix of a little bit of wind, a little bit of rain, maybe a little bit of sun Wednesday. I put in 2 suns there just because I was so excited. And then Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, partly cloudy. I'm not going to say a chance to completely dry out, because that's going to take more than just 4 or 5 days, but at least the rain stops falling from the sky. Mia, we're almost there. Another 24, 36 hours, and I think things are going to improve in a hurry.
You know what, David, I feel like in the past few days we haven't had a whole lot to smile about. So seeing the sun up there on the 7-day forecast and it coming sooner rather than later, that has put a smile on a lot of people's faces.
The double sun is just for you, Houston.
Yeah. We definitely need the sunshine. Thank you so much, sir. All right, let's check back in with our Josh Chapin. He was with a crew out there rescuing people on the back of a heavy dump truck. Let's check back in with him. He's out on the far east side. Josh?
Yeah, let's take a look back at the parking lot here. This is a staging area, just to set the scene for you. We're at the Walmart at the East Sam Houston Parkway, Cedar Road, and Wallaceville Road. This is where first responders, volunteers, rangers have been bringing people who have been flooded out. They've been bringing them here and then shipping them elsewhere. You see the Cloverleaf Fire Department here, other different first responders in Harris County, Precinct 3 constables. We want to just talk to folks who have been, evacuated from their homes. Introduce yourself, ma'am.
Secure 60.
Why are you here tonight? Obviously, you couldn't be in your home tonight.
Well, actually, I couldn't be in my home. I live right behind here, but I worked doing rescues earlier. There's a family at 135 Maxey Road, and there's a family on Normandy Street. I came and spoke with the Cloverleaf Department and HPD. Cloverleaf stated that they don't do service that area, and so they have been stuck since about 2 o'clock, not able to come out. The water's rising, and it's coming from the bio area.
Right.
So now I'm back to try to get them help.
For our viewers and maybe for any first responders, we've done this a couple of times and tried to get the authorities' attention. It is 135 Maxey Road, and do you know a specific address on Normandy?
Yes, I do.
Okay, we're going to get that. While you're looking that up, can you tell me about just the emotions? I know maybe you haven't been flooded out, but seeing everyone standing here and thinking about these people who might be still trapped.
Yeah, it's heart-wrenching, especially, passing a street and it's at your ankles, and then you help someone out and you go back and it's waist deep and chest deep. Pretty much all day today we have been in water that's been chest deep, pulling people out. And now it's our time where our families need assistance and we can't get help. But I'm praying that someone will get there. But it's heart-wrenching to see everyone is just so disenchanted and losing everything. It's heartbreaking.
I can't even imagine. I feel for everyone here. It just doesn't really make any sense. You leave your home. Everyone says stay in your home, and then you got to leave everything behind.
Exactly. Basically no evacuation was made, so everyone is staying in their homes. And the ironic thing is, it seems okay because the water goes down, but then before you know it, the water's back up higher than what it was. So people are scared. There's young children. There's handicapped people who can't get out. It's a mess. We were not prepared for this type of tropical storm.
I don't think anyone's prepared for this sort of biblical type of storm.
No.
All right. What is that? Again, that address, while you're looking that up, 135
Maxey Road.
135 Maxey Road. I don't know if anyone, maybe she says HPD was not responding. Maybe the Cloverleaf Fire Department. I don't know if this is the Harris County Sheriff's Office or the Harris County Precinct 3 constables. We're going to bring that to them and see exactly if they can't get a boat. I know it's a little bit late. They don't send boats out at this point, but we were just within. a shelter. What it has been wonderful to see, though, is risking their lives, putting people in harm's way. Also, another address.
Lady, 330 Maybrook Drive, Houston, Texas, 77015.
330 Maybrook Drive. If anyone's listening, any first responders are listening, 330 Maybrook Drive. Okay? And the other was 135
Maxey Road.
2 addresses. There might be some elderly folks that are in there, so this is critical. If we can get that message out to first responders, if they hear us, I'm happy to communicate with them as well and see what we can do. We're going to also bring this to the Harris County Precinct 3 constables who are out here in this Walmart parking lot pitching in. I was going to say this has been wonderful.
And while you're at it, we're notifying the Cajun Navy and giving them their address in case any of them are out there.
The rain is one thing, but just see people losing it. Everything is another. So we're going to look at those 2 addresses, bring it to the attention of the authorities, and we'll check back in with you in just a bit. Guys?
Chapin, you're doing a good job. So we're going to effort back here what we can and trying to contact the right people. Let's check back in with David Paul, because Paul, we saw the rain where Josh was. It was a little worse earlier, but we know there are some places that are really getting it right now, David.
Rotation around Harvey. So Harvey is moving a significant way offshore, and because of that, it's sort of taking some of the heaviest rain out of northwest Harris County and pushing it into the coastal counties, at least for now. Let's get a closer look of southeast Texas. You can see we've got a feeder band coming in, feeding heavy thunderstorms, and we've got this tornado warning for the Bolivar Peninsula until 10:30, about another 15 minutes. Radar indicating. That in Chambers County, stretching into San Leon, and that extends across most of the coastal counties. But as you look at this particular view, notice how the heavy rain, the reds that were in the Houston area, kind of fizzle out and shrink a little bit. And in fact, the oranges from northwest Harris County, the heavier rain is now transitioned into a lighter blue, so it's just drizzle out there in spring in the woodlands in Jersey.
Alright, so looks like we're in for another long night here on Texas and Louisiana. And
I love how it's
by
going.
tomorrow morning, I'm expecting there should be a little more reorganization.
I was going to say, I love how it's going a lot further south into the Gulf than what they were saying. Oh, it's going to skirt the coast. Now all of a sudden it's just going southeast into the water. Like, south isn't north, last I checked.
Well, no, they said it was going to go, like, basically up through Houston and then go up. And then they said it was going to go more southeast. And I was the one that said it was going to go basically due east and wind up just south of Galveston, which is exactly where it is. Anyway. That's why I make the fucking big bucks, right? I get no goddamn respect. Anyways, and on that bombshell, it's time for me to get the fuck out of here. Thanks for joining me, all. Have a good one. Pray for everybody out there. Peace.
I know I gotta keep you by my side till the day I die. 'Cause baby, ecstasy is in my hand. Oh, when I'm holding yours in mine and walking in the sand. Oh, baby, you know it's fine. Oh, now you done and piss me off. You ain't done something you shouldn't have done. Baby, I'm mad. I'm going on. Oh, I'm going on. I can't take it no more. here with you. I know I gotta keep you by my side till the day I die. 'Cause baby, ecstasy is in my hand. Oh, when I'm holding yours in mine and walking in the sand. Oh, baby, you know it's fine. Oh, now you done excuse me, oh. You ain't done something you shouldn't have done. Baby, I'm mad. I'm going on. Oh, I'm going on. take a breath. I can't take it no more. Takes my pain back to breathe out of another thing. I know, oh Lord, I know it's in my heart and baby down in my soul. You, baby, you can't take it no more. No, I know I'm walking out that door the way you treated me too many times before. Don't you know you love me, baby, too? Oh, you know I want you there, I wanna be right there with you. I know I gotta keep you by my side today I die. 'Cause baby, ecstasy is in my hand. Oh, when I'm holding yours in mine and walking in the sand. Oh, baby, you know it's fine. Oh, now you done piss me off. You ain't done something you shouldn't have done. Baby, I'm mad. I'm going on. Oh, I'm going on. can't take it no more. I know I gotta keep you by my side till the day I die. 'Cause baby, ecstasy is in my hand. Oh, when I'm holding yours in mine and walking in the sand. Oh, baby, you know it's fine. Oh, now you done pissed me off. You went done something you shouldn't have done. Baby, I'm mad. I'm going on. Oh, I'm going on. I can't take it no more. The way you treated me too many times before. Don't you know you love them, baby, too? Oh, you know I want you there, I wanna be right there with you. I know I gotta keep you by my side till the day I die. I can't take it no more. Thank you.